What is up, guys? My name's Ken Spade, and welcome back to Doki Literature Club. And let's just get right in it. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry about last episode. I kind of had the game volume a little bit too loud and you couldn't hear me. But that's changed now because I've been checking and you can hear me a little bit more better now. But yeah. Hint, you can use the skip button to fast forward through text you've already read. Hi again, Jose. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I at least keep my word. Well, I'm back at the literature club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Jose. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you, making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year, and last year too. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monica and manga. Manga is literature. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Jose always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable. Sayori, that's because your room is so messy, it's distracting. And you almost set your house on fire once. Is that so? You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come? Me and Jose can become good friends too. Sayori. As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into. Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know? Wait, Sayori. Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? I'm sorry. Yuri, I wasn't thinking. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue this situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah, I won't make a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? Of course. She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I'm sure you will too. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for this club. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Ah, crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me and our eyes meet for a split second. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry, I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just reading a bit of this, so... That's the book that you gave me, right? I wanted to reread some of it. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have two copies of the same book? Ah, well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy two of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's it about, anyway? Well, Yuri closes the book and scans her eyes over the book. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There is an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front of the cover. Alright, I just wanted to make sure I don't accidentally give anything away. Basically, it's about this girl in a high school who moves in with her long-lost younger sister. But as soon as she does so, her life gets really strange. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison. And while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationship and her life starts to fall apart. That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story. So that dark turn came from nowhere. Yuri gently giggles all of a sudden. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Jose? No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that those kinds of stories, they challenge you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because they have their own goals or their own philosophy that they believe in. Then suddenly, when you thought you related to the protagonist, they're made out to be the naive one for letting their one-sided morals interfere with the villain's plans. I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. And please stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's the literature club, after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? You don't have to. What are you saying? Just a moment ago, you said you were looking forward to it. Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. That's. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to, it's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. Alright. I opened the book and start to the prologue. I soon understood what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder. It's not a particular bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri's in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry. I was just... Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Both allowing people to get something out of it just by the feel, or letting them deeply analyze all of the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has it at this point. I never really asked though. I'm sure I'm not aware. It could take a little while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall. It could have been me. See the direction that spackle protrudes. A noisy neighbor, an angry boyfriend, I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. Right, my retinas, already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he on the other side was looking in. So what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can really be powerful. What was the inspiration behind this? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other? Anyway, here's Monica writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tiddy up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. The next person I'm going to share with is Yuri. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Expositional. What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. That's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her fingers along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason why I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typically of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick up a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form fit the two together. The end result is that the both style and the apprehensive are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it is as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing, even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily as if there is a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time, the last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. I'm sorry. I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Ah. Well, I just don't read the script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghost theory? Uh-huh. Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Jose. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you didn't only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experience in their work. They usually do more than all simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it in that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. It's nothing really. Yours way was impressive too. So, nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. Ah. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Jose. Ah, me too. And the last person to share my poem with the person I actually want to share my poem with. This is a good poem, Jose. Are you sure it's your first time? Of course. It's not that good. Am I the kind of guy who would be writing poems in his spare time? I guess you're right. But that's why it impressed me. I was afraid that you wouldn't do it seriously, or that you wouldn't write one at all. I'm really happy that you just wrote one. It just reminds me of how you're really a part of the club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet. But that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like I said before, Jose. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Try new things like this for other people. That's something that only really good people do. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined. Knowing how much that means to her and all. Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That will be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm going to hold you to that then. Yay. Now you read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. We'll see about that. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead helped me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Or you trust me to wish away a rainy day? I look above. The sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep wherever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. I'm pretty sure she was hungry. Sayori, this is just a guess, but did you wait until morning to write this? No. Just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit. It's a yes or no question. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Yeah. I didn't mean to say that it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I made eggs and toast, even though you were late to school. It's bad to skip breakfast. I get all cranky. Well, I guess there's no point in arguing. Anyway, thanks for showing me. This was so much fun. Monica's the best. Yeah. But next time I won't forget. And I'm gonna write the best poem ever. Well, I guess I'll look forward to it. Phew. I guess that's everyone. I glanced around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all. I sigh. I guess that's why I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language?